Hi everyone, I'm Ashley, your host of Life After an Ego Death, and today's guest speaker is Rori Klein. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for creating with me, and thank you for being vulnerable and open and just sharing your story with me and everyone, all the listeners in the universe. So, what would you like to share and get out there?
So my experience with ego death might be a little bit different than a typical uh, witch's ego death or magician's ego death, spiritual ego death, however we want to phrase that. I am a ceremonial magician, and I am part of the Western mystery tradition of witchcraft and magic. And so we don't view ego death as a singular experience. We actually see it as a threefold experience. So I'm very excited to be able to come on here and talk about that because I don't really see that experience really talked about in spiritual circles.
Yeah, I want to hear all about this. This sounds awesome.
So we perform, it's called alchemy, right? And when people
Mm-hmm.
typically hear alchemy, they're thinking of, the philosopher's stone, turning lead into gold kind of thing. But really, it is a spiritual and self
Mm-hmm.
alchemy of the soul. And so
Mm-hmm.
the three steps, and it's an ongoing process, honestly, um, is disillusionment,
Mm-hmm.
confronting the false self, recognizing
Mm-hmm.
this, and
Mm-hmm.
then dissolving it, working
Mm-hmm.
through that, and then purifying it. And then you come out on
Mm-hmm.
the other side as
Mm-hmm.
a more enlightened being. So those are the different steps for what we call the great work, which is what magic is all about.
I've done this. I wrote this in my book that alchemy was what helped me in my spiritual journey. So I think of it as a transmuting from dark to light. We're both dark and light. We're both of those things as one. And I did use, that dissolution of self. And I had a bunch of resins that I burned in a charcoal burner and had that just smoke waft me while I was releasing all of my dense negative energy, which could be a whole long list of things that I was trying to get out of my body and transmute. And I used the element of water too. I jumped in a bath and did a spiritual bath too. And so that was such a huge transformation for me. That helped me so much. And it's so awesome to hear that our paths aligned and that I kind of did a little bit of what you're talking about. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's super important to incorporate all of the elements into the process because we are trying to find this center balance between, earth and air
Mm-hmm.
and water and fire. And when we find that balance within
Mm-hmm.
ourselves of all of the elements, that's when we achieve spiritual balance. We find the brilliance in the center. Yeah. So it's such a freeing process. It really is.
It is. It is very freeing. That is such an accurate word. That's what I felt. I was just lifted from all of the burdens and like you said, the purification process, it is also at the same time very cleansing and very purifying. And I've been very fortunate to be able to do this on other people because they're willing. And friends that come over and they sense the energy in my space. I do feng shui and also they sense my energy too. And they're like, I need a cleansing. And so I do the egg also. And I can do that one. And then also I do what I talked about with that, with the smoke and the resin and help them go through that process. And one of them, it looked like they were levitating. It was crazy. And it was a major clearing process. And it's just very cathartic also, because a lot of things come up that you don't expect to come up, because I'm also talking, I'm channeling while I'm doing it. And stuff will come out and whatever it needs to be said, apparently, for that soul and that person. And so it is kind of like, I think of it as shaman work. It's medicine work, really. I don't even know what it is, because they talk about this as kind of like glamour magic, where anointing of oil, these resins that they used for Mary Magdalene and Jesus, that's what they did for him, is like, and the Egyptians, the oils too. Like I make perfumes and amber resins and all of these. I don't know, there's something about, all this stuff from the earth, and using it gets you back to your source. It gets you back to yourself and like your core and your center. And it's just something that I do probably really, really frequently. It's just always so good.
Yes. But when you were going through your experience, did you have, oh, how do I put this nicely? Like inner demons that
Oh
came
yeah.
out?
Oh yeah.
Because it
Oh
wasn't such a
yeah.
great experience at the
Oh.
time.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is scary. So I had a lot of experiences. I do astral travel as well. So I had a lot of demons, which I consider, these demons are fractured parts of our soul that need
Yeah.
to be, they need to be shed away. They come up because they need to be, well, they need to be seen, and I don't know. So anyway, that helps us with that process. But yeah, it was treacherous, and all those demons did come out, like while I was sleeping, or when I was awake too. And it was super terrifying. And I feel like, we all have phases, right? Like our isolation phase and whatever. I had a long time of where I was dying every single day, and going through that transformation and rebirth for many, many months. And it was absolutely like hardcore metal, like, like it is really intense. It is really
Yeah.
intense. And it is so scary, for sure. But also, like, that is part of it, which, yeah, no one talks about that. So I'm glad, like, you brought it up. And also, like, I want to hear your side of that. So go ahead.
Oh man. So I I was doing at the same time, while I'm doing the spiritual side of the disintegration and working on myself,
Mm-hmm.
I was also working with a professional, like therapist and doctors, and like,
Mm-hmm.
working on the science side of it as well. And so
Mm.
I was very lucky that I was able to process this with my therapist, within talk therapy, and I was
Oh
able
wow.
to kind of walk through the psychological, like, what the hell is happening?
Oh my gosh, this
And
is so that's amazing. Mm-hmm.
it it was it was a very intense, long process.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
what I discovered was that one of my trauma responses was to fawn and to ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
it's coming up, it's being dissolved, it's being stirred up in the soul, and you have to confront it. And if you don't, it will
Mm-hmm.
just slink away into the shadows and grow and
Mm-hmm.
better, and then it will come back worse.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the hardest part for me, was to accept my anger, and to accept my rage, and to accept those those demons that were coming out, and to
Mm-hmm.
recognize that they were there to protect me, and
Mm-hmm.
that I needed to integrate that into me and my whole self instead of just wearing this mask of the good girl, the
Mm-hmm.
perfect daughter. And so I was coming at this twofold from both the spiritual side of the work, the magic side of the work, and also the psychological, therapeutic side of the work. And being able to integrate both of those at the same time, I was
Mm-hmm.
very lucky to be able to do that. But yeah, there was a little bit of a, you know, exploding volcano rage monster that came out.
Seriously. Wow, that's so amazing that you were able to identify your traumas with someone else that was a professional. Like, that is really helpful and really helps project you, like, skyrocket you in your journey because you have all these extra elements, all these extra ways of working through it. And there's no one way. You have to come from so many angles and so many different things in order to achieve this goal.
Yes, exactly, exactly. I tell my scouts because I founded a magical guild, and so when they're asking me questions, or one of the badges is about shadow work and like stepping into that
Mm-hmm.
realm, and they're asking questions, I'm like, come at it from all of the angles. Seriously, there
Mm-hmm.
is no one true way.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I did it, but that might not be the right way for you. And you should honor your past and honor
Mm-hmm.
yourself and find the way that's right for you. So I try and encourage, I like to tell my story to my scouts and my friends and my community, but then also tell them like there are other resources, there are other paths. Go and find what works for you.
I love that. That is so supportive. And it's just so amazing to hear that you have your own community where you help so many people. On the shadow work is the hardest part, I feel like, of the journey. And it's the first thing for me that I went through. That was the first thing I hit. And so, and I'm just really, really honored to have you share your story and be here. It is only 12 minutes in. We have gone through so much. It is a lot, and we're gonna do more, and this is so much fun. Something that you talked about that I really liked was when you said the word integration, and you were talking about your kind of like your past versions of yourself and facing all of those. And like you said that that past version of yourself was there to survive, and it helped you get to this point. And something that I really focus on with all the past versions of myself, my goal was to operate as my higher self in my highest timeline, you know, and do that quantum timeline jumping and all collapsing and stuff, which is literally the same as magic, I swear. Because all the elements are really come into play with it. So I would honor my past self. I would cherish her. I would love her. I would say thank you. Thank you for getting me here because you did what you needed to do to survive. And now I'm going to let you go so you can see what I can do with this life. And watch me like go to my higher self. And she did it every single time. And they were the toughest battles. They're so hard when you're facing these ancestral wounds, these karmic loops, and cutting energetic cords with people. And, just going through just trauma from other lifetimes. It is just a lot of generational curses that you have to break. And it's a lot of work, a lot of work. But every time I got through a threshold, I accessed a higher awareness and I became a different version of myself. And I don't resonate with my past anymore. You're not a victim anymore. You're not that past version of you. You died. You're a new version of you, a higher version of you, a more healed version of you.
Yes, yeah, stripping away those past while also honoring it. I saw during this process, this was a few years ago for me, and so there's not a lot of memories that are very concrete. One that still sticks with me was, like when you're at the carnival, you see those fun mirrors and you see
Mm-hmm.
like, 100 versions of yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
I saw 100 versions of me, but I knew that they were the previous women in my matriarchal line. I knew that they
Mm-hmm.
were the women that had survived, that had fought for
Mm-hmm.
my generation. So I saw 7 generations. When I saw this the fun mirror.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way for me to describe it. Just reflections of myself, but I knew that those were the grandmothers that I had never met that had
Mm-hmm.
prayed for me to be here,
Mm-hmm.
that had prayed for my my life and my
Mm-hmm.
success. And so that was one of the, like, when you were talking about ancestral work, this is
Mm-hmm.
uh, that was something that really stuck out to me, where I saw these, 7 back generations of women that
Mm-hmm.
had worked so that I could be here, and I was honoring their sacrifices and their lives
Mm-hmm.
and their stories by doing the work. So
Exactly.
that was a wonderful experience for me.
Oh my gosh, I resonate so much with that. I'm so glad you shared all that because a lot of things that I was working on was stuff from my, like you said, the mother line, the maternal line, and a lot of the women in my life, in my bloodline, they abandoned themselves, and I had that I had to overcome. And they self sabotaged. I had to overcome that too. And they, yeah, sacrificed a lot, like you said. And also, it was just, oh man, it's so sad that they really put themselves on the back burner and they just tolerated everything. And I wanted to thrive. I wanted it to end with me. And I'm like, I want the best life I can possibly have. And I'm not going to tolerate what you guys did. And they were helping me and supporting me, my ancestors, to make this happen, And we did it. And that is a huge accomplishment for both of us. We healed our bloodline. And now, what we're doing at this moment, we are healing other people. And it is a ripple effect. And it is just so incredible to change people's lives for the better, make this impact, and just watch the world change and the universe, really.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like now that I have further gone further along in my journey of this work, um, of reintegrating my true self and stepping into my true timeline. That is exactly, especially in the like age of Aquarius that we're coming into. It seems like there was this awakening that happened in me, but also happened globally, happened across our culture, of people that were called to help others, that were called to community, that were called to help bring others into their higher timeline. And so I feel like that really is, like, when I look back at these last, because I self-dedicated, and started my official, like, spiritual journey back in 2017. So we're going on 9 years now. This summer, it was at the summer solstice, when I self-dedicated. So this summer will be 9 years. As I look back along my journey of these last 9 years, I'm like, why did the universe have me do that? Why? I don't. Okay, that was weird. And now I'm seeing it, and I'm like, oh, I needed to do that so that I can do this. Like, I didn't really understand it at the time, but I trusted in my spirit guides and I trusted in the universe, and now I can, use those skills to help bring others into this age of enlightenment that we are, stepping into now. Ashley, still there? Can you hear me? I can kind of hear you, but um, oh, she can't hear. Okay, let's try. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure where I lost you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but the good thing is that it records both of us separately, so it'll add both of whatever you said after I responded, and then we'll just continue on. So it's all good.
Okay. Well, good. What was the last thing that you heard?
So the last thing that whatever I said about the maternal line and stuff, whenever I finished talking, it went completely silent. And so
Oh,
if you responded to me, I didn't know what you said.
gotcha. Okay. Um, I don't, I don't remember, honestly. Let's, let's just go
But
on
that's
to the next
okay.
topic.
Let's go on to the next thing. I
Yeah.
think that's a good thing if we don't repeat ourselves. So we'll go on to our next thing. Well, we have just a few minutes left actually. So if you have any final thoughts, like any last things that you want to bring up that we didn't, because I talk a lot. So if you want to add anything as a closing.
Sure. So I guess the closing would be don't rush this because um, this has been a 9-year journey for me. I officially dedicated myself the summer of 2017, and that is when I like officially started on my own like magical witchcraft journey. And so, I if there's, anybody out there that is just starting this and they're thinking like, "Oh my gosh, why am I not an expert? Like I should be able to do, one or two meditations and then I will be able to, do shadow work and be done with this in a season or a year." Like it is not a quick process, and it shouldn't be a quick, in my opinion, it shouldn't be a quick process because there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot of work to do. And so I just want to say to all like the newcomers out there to give yourself grace and give yourself time and don't rush. Like we live in a go, 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 constant, like we have to be productive all the time. We don't get to have any downtime. And so I just want to encourage any, new brooms out there, new people that are on their spiritual path to just breathe. Take time to actually like sit in your feelings, to sit in your shadow, and to really, really work on integrating it because I am 9 years in and it's it's been a long process and it's so worth it. So don't be discouraged that it's not going to be done in a month.
Oh, right, exactly. That was so beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm really glad that you said that because that is a constant reminder when I put my videos and share all my comments and absolutely everything with the world. I get a lot of people that are not being gentle with themselves and wish that they were further along and telling me by watching me and experiencing me that they know where they're falling short. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I love you. I accept you. Like, I just, I help them in every way that I can to get them in a place where, yeah, they can just take it for what it is and not worry about the time frame. It is a lifetime journey.
Hmm. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. It was absolutely incredible to talk with you and connect with you and relate to you in every single way. And I'm so proud of you for creating a community and helping so many people and sharing your story. And yeah, I just am so grateful that you are my reflection and that we can go back and forth of all of this, all of the work that we've done and just really celebrate each other. That's what this felt like for me.
Thank you so much for having me on and for giving me an opportunity to celebrate the process. Yes, I love that. Um, it's it's not something that, when you strip away the ego, it's
Mm-hmm.
not generally something that you do all the time. So I appreciate the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity and thank you for your time.
All right, we'll hop off. We'll see you guys on the next episode.